So we're checking out the Nighthawk M6 Pro. This makes it a little different than what you would normally see, because what I'm doing here is taking a refurbished version of this. As you guys know, that this is a little bit on a higher point than other 5G mobile routers. We'll see if this lives up to it. Now this does have AT&T, as you guys can see, but from what I understand, this is unlocked. So we'll see if it'll get the job done. It does come, this open box does come with these USB cables, and then you have this right here. Keep in mind, because this is AT&T, and I'm already seeing kind of some scuff marks, so that kind of stinks a little bit. Hopefully this will work pretty well. I'm seeing actually some scratch marks as well. So I didn't really get the absolute best quality. I didn't get something that was brand new, it looks like. But, you know, as we said, this is supposedly an unlocked one. So we'll see if it really is unlocked, and we'll test this out. We do have the SIM card ready to go as well. All right, so it is turning on, which is good. We'll end up putting in the SIM card here in a second, but just kind of making sure it even works. This one is just like, I'm kind of unimpressed, I have to say. Just because I feel like I usually get better quality when I do these things, but like it's all scratched up, it's all scuffed up. I mean, it is about a third of what this is usually at, so I mean, that kind of makes sense, but at least we'll get to test this out and see if it's something that'll work really, really well. All right, so it's on, and it looks like we just have to kind of go ahead and put this on English. All right, so it wants us to customize our Wi-Fi. The good thing is that everything is touchscreen, which I like. And now it's asking for us to go ahead and put our SIM card. So we'll go ahead and do that now in a second. It looks like it's about a 50% battery, which is cool. We'll go ahead and set that up. Now, it looks like taking this off is pretty easy. The cover just pretty much comes off. It almost feels a little loose. So hopefully that's just not an indication of how easy it is to take off. And then you just kind of do this, and then you go ahead and you just put the SIM card, it looks like, right there. So pretty easy stuff, which is cool to see. Now, as this thing is booting up, I did want to take notice that this does come with a Ethernet cable, which is great. And then, of course, you have the charging brick and then the USB-C that charges this device. So not bad overall. You get a decent little setup here with all this stuff. So far we do have this thing going and working. As you guys can see, it says T-Mobile 5G right there, and it is live. We'll check this out right now and see if it's actually truly working. We'll go ahead and plug in my phone right now, and we'll see if we're getting some decent speeds. Right now, so far, this is completely plug and play, so I am not absolutely doing anything in regards to messing with kind of the settings or anything along those lines. So I wanted to give you guys my final thoughts about this. So ultimately, I ended up using this for about a week, and I went on a vacation, and I ended up using this completely as my only source of internet. I wanted to do a speed test prior to that open box that I was doing, just kind of showing you how this whole thing worked. And I ended up running out of data, so now I can give you guys kind of the speeds I was getting, but I remember the speeds I was getting, and I was actually somewhat impressed. Now, I'm using T-Mobile, the Hotspot data plan that they have. I couldn't put in a tablet to get in this, like, use a tablet plan because it recognized that this wasn't a tablet. So I ended up having to switch over to a Hotspot data plan, and I ended up getting about, between the lowest internet, I was getting maybe 70 megabytes to 140, maybe even sometimes it would jump to 200. And the 70 was when it was congested, when it was the absolute, like, the most busy time of the day. So my speeds were actually very impressive with T-Mobile. Now, obviously, the speeds are going to matter differently wherever you decide to go. If you go somewhere else, like if you live in a more, you know, rural area where there's not as many antennas. I did notice that where I currently live here in Arizona, in this spot where I am, the internet's not as quick as it was where I was in a big city. I was in Chicago, and Chicago, the internet was better. There's probably just more antennas there. So it's obviously going to vary from place to place. But overall, using this for a week, I used it both off battery and on battery, and it was incredible. Obviously, when you have this thing off battery, it's going to actually give you more internet if you have it plugged to a power source. If you end up using this with just the battery, the speeds are still pretty close. It's not too far off. So overall, I was very impressed. One thing I will mention too, I want to talk about this antenna. This is the NETGEAR antenna. As you guys can see, it plugs right here very easily, and using this antenna with the NETGEAR Pro, this actually made a pretty big difference. I was surprised. I was expecting maybe to not get as good speeds or just a little bit or not even work. Supposedly they say sometimes you add this and it actually can make your internet worse. This actually improved my speeds by quite a bit. I'd say about 20 to 30 megabits were extra using this antenna. So if you guys are interested in this antenna, this omnidirectional antenna, as you guys can see here, I can definitely recommend this. This was actually worth the purchase to go alongside this, and it really did make a big difference. I ended up getting better speeds overall using this. So overall, my experience with this has been pretty good. I can definitely recommend it. One that I will definitely be using now for all my trips going forward, all my trips going away from here, and as a backup internet to my home internet. So, or you could absolutely, by the way, for the record, if you don't use a lot of data, or you can find a good data plan that doesn't like completely throttle you after you hit your max amount, then you're going to be good using something like this. I did end up using my max. I had about 50 gigs of internet that was given to me using T-Mobile, and I absolutely went over the 50 gigs in a week because I was doing a lot of work when I was, away. So 50 wasn't enough for me. Once I hit 50 with T-Mobile, it throttled it so bad it was unusable. So just something to keep in mind when you're using something like this. But overall, I do recommend it. I think this is a fantastic device and absolutely worth it.